Welcome to the Aligned Life Podcast by yours truly, Dr. Tiffany. How about we get out that magnifying glass and look at every part of your life, the awesome, the suck, and everything in between. There's so much beauty in you. Stop being afraid of what isn't good enough and let's double down on what is together. It's about your truth and your life, aligned. Hello, everyone. All right, today I'm going to take a little different twist on this. For those who follow me every week, I did not do a podcast last week. Everyone that helps me do my job kept asking, Tiff, you're due. Tiff, you're overdue. And I was tapped. My brain did not work. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what it feels like when I get tapped. I can only just talk about my own experience. So I'm going to share what happens when I'm like, all done. My brain doesn't actually handle anymore. What signs, what symptoms do I notice? And then more importantly, what are the things that I evaluate in myself to see where the missing link is, or what can I do? How can I think? How can I be different to move through this? First things first. Observing yourself is much different than critiquing yourself. When we come to a point that we're not being productive or we find ourselves procrastinating more, those aren't meant for times to critique yourself. And so when I say the difference between observe and critique, when I am in that place, I'm not hard on myself. It's more so the observation. In my past workshops and in the trainings that I do, I recommend imagining looking at yourself from the corner of a room. And as you're looking at yourself from the corner of the room, you're seeing everything you're doing, but you're not judging it. You're not determining if it's right or wrong, black or white, accepted, not accepted. You're just straight up observing. And so until you can get to the place of innately you just start to observe instead of judge, imagine yourself, envision yourself being in your room, being in your office, being with your family, and you are looking at yourself from the corner of the room. Now that's one thing I've been practicing for years. Gosh, I don't know, I'd say maybe 15 years. And I can see myself in many facets of life now. And it doesn't mean that I'm not judging anymore, but I'm understanding why I'm behaving the way I do. Now, I make plenty of mistakes and I can look back and say, wow, what was I thinking? Well, if you go into observation mode, you can go through like, whoa, this and this and this went down. I responded in a reactionary way. I don't think that's a word. Anyway, I reacted, and that reaction might not have been what I wanted it to be. And when you can be aware, observe, reflect on yourself and your behavior and your action steps and who you are, then you can start to see some trends and you can start to see when things go wonky. So I'm going to talk about what happens when things go wonky, or maybe you just had, in my particular instance, I just launched the Aligned Life, and it was a ton of work leading up to it, right? Months of brainstorming and implementation, and then delegating and leading my team. And once that got over, I was like, whoo, I need some mental space. I need to rest, right? And so I did. That week, I rested. Physically, I rested. I did not have anything major that I needed to create, okay? Whether that be writing, podcast, coursework, anything. I knew that rest of that week, I just needed to kind of do what I do best, adjust people and connect with people. The following week, I thought I'd be good, like right back to it, right? Tiff gets shit done. And all of a sudden, Tiff didn't get shit done. And I was like, whoa, what is happening? So one of my addictions, for lack of a better term, is I have a tendency to push. And if I'm not aware, I'm going to continue to push to depletion. And I don't do that very often anymore because my body gives me signs, my mind gives me signs. The people that love me around me give me signs. They tell me exactly how I'm showing up. And I found myself in that push energy again. Like, gosh, why can't you get this done? Let's go. Okay, so at 10, you're going to do this. And pretty soon my body's like, nope, we're not going to do it. So I'm going to go through 8 things that I observe in myself, and take whatever you want to take. If it's that one, oh my gosh, if I could just remember to do this one thing, that's going to be kind of like the open door to all these different things. Now, I'm not extremely imbalanced in any of these anymore. So it's little tweaks, and a lot of them are good because I know if I binge on a weekend or I go out on a weekend, I know that I'm not that good 1 or 2 days after. And so I really plan that accordingly. If I choose to do it, I do it with a lot of intention so that something else isn't sacrificed. So here's my 8. And within these 8, there's a lot of things. And this will be, I believe, this will be loaded with options to evaluate in yourself, to observe in yourself, and to reflect. And never be afraid of reflecting. Never be afraid of what you might find when you start to look at yourself. If we look at ourselves from the corner of the room, it is never judgment, it's straight up observation. So number 1, stress. It's always stress for me. I will evaluate all parts of stress. And keep in mind, if I do these, when I go through these 8 things, it doesn't take me long. I know right away. I just kind of have a list in my brain to just check off. How are these things going? So stress, the common ones are mental, emotional, physical. If I just tune in to my body on how I feel, am I stressed? I know right away. My heart and my gut and my head all feel disconnected. They feel like they're in 3 different places. And then I know I'm not grounded. I'm definitely not connected or making decisions from my heart center. And my left brain is overloaded. Remember, the left brain is the logical, it's the systematic, it's the delegation, it's managerial, it's the get shit done one. Right brain is the empathetic and healing and hopeful and creative, relational, depth. Okay, so you can see when my left brain goes topsy-turvy, so does my right brain. And so now I'm not even doing all those right brain things. And the key is to make sure we have balance in our brain, balance in our body, balance in our heart center, and that those main 3 things are always connected towards what you're working on. So stress, okay? 2 is diet. Have I fallen off the train tracks? I have done this a bazillion times. It's probably my one big thing that when I'm more stressed or disconnected, I don't pay as much attention to, number 1, what I'm eating, and number 2, how it will make me feel, or how it is making me feel at that moment of consuming it. And so the biggest things I look at in diet is carbs. Have I kind of went off the tracks? Am I getting JL, beer, burgers, and fries for lunch? Hello, Tiff, you're off track. Am I eating Cheez-Its at 10 o'clock before bed? Hello, Tiff, you're off track. Those are those observations that I can see. And that's the biggest thing in diet is the relation of carbs and sugar to my entire diet. Number 3, am I sleeping? I am quite protocoled in my sleep, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. Rule of thumb is if you can keep that sweet spot within an hour or so. So let's say your normal wake up time Monday through Friday is 6 and you go to bed at 10. So 10 to 6, you're sleeping. 8 hours is your sweet spot. I think it's really important to track what your sweet spot is. That's maybe a topic for a different day, but if we sleep too much, we are too tired, and if we sleep not enough, we're too tired. And so what is that for you? My range, my like average range, wouldn't even say range, but is 8. I can have 2 nights of 6, but that third night I need to get more, and then I'm good. But I know that of myself. Also, not only with the hours per night, but what time are the hours happening? Are you going to bed at 1 and then all of a sudden, you're not getting up until 9 or 10? You're not going to feel the same on those 8 hours of sleep as you are in your sweet spot hours of sleep. So sleep, movement. Have I moved? I feel like I could totally work all day. I could create all day. I could inspire all day. I could write all day. And that's not that good for my body. I could sit for 8 hours straight and I could maybe go to the bathroom one time and just about be ready to pee my pants the whole time. But man, I get stuck in creating and working. So I definitely, that's one thing that I fall off a lot. And it's not, I don't need intense workouts because my body sometimes doesn't like them, but I need fluid movement. Walking the dogs, going for walks, swimming, spinning, biking, those kind of things my body loves. And yoga, I know that it loves that. So when I veer off and my stress is high and I go into this fight or flight mode, I don't feel that I've forgotten that even, right? We don't even feel that we're not, I don't even know that I'm out of balance is what I'm trying to say. So that's movement. I also believe movement in the nice times of the year. It's summer here in North Dakota, and it is so important for sun, for being barefoot in your grass. It's so necessary to have nature in your life. Doesn't matter how much and when it is, but if you can, I don't know, if you never get outside for a half hour a day or hour a day or something to get into nature and allow. I believe there's so many things, so many signs out there, and so many things we can feel to turn off that left brain when we're outside. 5, do I have meaning in my life right now? Am I doing work that's meaningful? Am I having conversations that are meaningful? Do I have friendships that are meaningful? Is my spousal relationship meaningful? Am I struggling with having meaning with my kids? Are they going through a stage that's a little bit more difficult? I'm not sure how to step in. And when things aren't, that's one thing that I've really detoxed from my life is non-purposeful or non-meaningful events, people, circumstances, and work. I create my influence around me so that there's meaning everywhere I look. That doesn't mean that I don't do some of the stuff that is maybe a little bit more of a sacrifice to get to the place of having more meaning. That's all part of the process. It's all part of a project. But I definitely don't surround myself with meaningless things or things that after you do something, you're like, oh, that was stupid. I'm not going to do that anymore. Number 6 is boundaries. Boundaries. I would imagine those people who are listening on a regular, when you are tapped, you have busted a boundary of your own. You have not listened to what that boundary is. It's not about the other person. So when you say, oh, my mother-in-law, here she goes again, she's doing X, Y, and Z, that is not her fault. That is your boundary. And that from that boundary comes communication, and then comes clarity. Now you can create a new agreement with your mother-in-law if you choose to, or no agreement, whatever you need to do. Create an agreement with yourself, though, on what that looks like next time. Yeah, does that take courage? For sure. Everything that's worth it in our life takes courage. And the further away we live from our core values, the more gray you're going to have in your life, the less meaning you're going to have in your life, the less progress you're going to make, the less happy you're going to be. It is imperative that you look at the boundaries that you're setting, who you're setting them with, how you're setting them, and stick to them, no matter how freaking hard they are. Okay? Number 7, am I making progress? I need to make progress on things. There are so many things that are values, right? That are the most important. I urge you to look into what may be your top few values. I will be doing a podcast on this. I've done many, many trainings on values, face-to-face and online trainings. The further away your current reality is from what you value, the more issues you're going to have in your life. So if your top values are relationships and your work, it is really important that who you surround yourself, the energy in your home, the environment at work, the work that you're doing is purposeful. Those are your highest priorities. That's what you want to spend the most time on. And so when we look at am I progressing towards my goals? Maybe one of my values in life is freedom. Am I working towards being debt-free? Am I working towards not relying on my parents anymore? Whatever it is for you, whatever freedom means for you, progress needs to be moving towards that goal. And number 8 is mindset. Mindset is everything. How we think affects how we live. You can change the way you think. It also requires you to be vulnerable enough to uncover the layers that are keeping you protected, that are keeping you in your freaking comfort zone, that are keeping you safe and AKA miserable. Yeah. Comfort zones make us freaking miserable. So, how do we change it? You first need to evaluate if you feel miserable. If you feel miserable and now you're solution-minded, you're going to make some progress towards that. Making progress in anything that is important to you makes you happy. Yeah, sitting there reading a romance novel, wishing that's the relationship you had does not make you happy, ever. It will never make you happy. Start making progress towards the relationship that you want to have and experience. Mindset. When I'm tapped, my left brain is mind blown, right? My right brain shuts off. By the way, this is research. This is brain research. It does for everybody. Get back to creativity. Get back to meditation. Get back to journaling. Get back to breathing. Get back to grounding. Get back to yoga. Anything that requires your mind, body, heart, gut, soul to connect will make you happier. Got it? So we got 8 things, which, these 8 could be broken up, like I said, into a lot of things. But this is the scan that I do of my life when I'm tapped out and I don't think I can actually do anything. Or I have writer's block. Or I don't know what to podcast about. Or I don't know what module to create. Whatever it is for you, you don't know what meal to make for supper. It can be a multitude of different things, but I have my blinky red lights that when things aren't flowing, this is my scan. Number 1, stress. Number 2, diet. Number 3, sleep. Number 4, movement. Number 5, meaning. Number 6, boundaries. Number 7, progress. And number 8, mindset. That takes me just a few minutes to scan ooh, yep, this is my top 1 or these are my top 2. This is what I need to work on now. This is what I need to be more aware of. These are the little things that I can do, that I can feel to start to get the ball rolling in a different way. Okay. For me, one of the first things is journaling, talking either to myself or to somebody that won't try to fix it and won't judge where I'm really at. We have people in our lives that want to just say, well, Tiff, go do this. No, that's not what I need. I just need to puke. I need to download my thoughts so I can then get clarity and now find the right people around me that can bring me into that next space, which, hey, I would say, how many of us really are comfortable asking for help? 1%, not many, because we need to be we need to be the strong ones And then I call BS on all that. That's not what it's all about. It's about asking for help so that you can start to be in a solution-oriented mindset. Stages happen, life happens, stress happens, transitions happen, hard stuff happens. How can you make sure you're still moving in the direction of your dreams, direction of your values, the direction that you are meant to go in your life? And if we're not connected, if our heart isn't connected to our mind and our soul, that's when things feel hard, difficult, tough. And so if you just observe yourself from the corner of the room, start to observe. Now ask yourself these 8 things, you're going to have an idea of where to start. It's just a matter of starting again. And you can start and stop as many times as you want. Who cares? Don't judge if that's failure ever. It just means that things have pivoted. Or, hey, I needed to take 1 week to do this instead of these 5 million things. Or I just needed to take a few weeks with nothing. Or I needed to start a new hobby, or whatever it is that you know you need to do. You guys, we know, we just avoid it. So look at yourself as if there is no judgment, there is no criticism, there is no right or wrong. There is no, oh, my mom thinks I should do it this way. No, this is just you. It's just you. Be your best every day by understanding what makes you tick and what's holding you back. Because our body will give us signs all the time. Our mind will give us signs all the time. Our heart will give us signs all the time of disconnect. Be aware of that and then work to connect, because that's when you will align your freaking life. I promise.
Thank you for listening and following the Align Life podcast with Dr. Tiffany. If you love this and can think of anyone who needs to hear about it, would you mind sharing with them? Find me online at drtiffanyjohnson.com, where you can find out more about my memberships, courses, mentoring, and any upcoming events. To learn more about chiropractic for you and your family, go to htchiro.com and follow our social pages. I can't wait to connect with you soon, and until then, be you, be aligned.